Hey everybody, it's Austin Solomon and welcome back to this week's episode of The Real. Holy smokes, the last 3 months have been just a wild ride in the real estate market. If you've been following me, you know that the last episode was on June 12th. It is October 5th and we're back in the studio. I took a 3 or 4 month sabbatical from The Real. But I'm glad to be back at it. Looking forward to bringing more value, more content to you guys. I'm going to start this out, this week's episode of The Real, with a market update, letting you guys know what happened here over the course of the last couple months, where we're at now. Again, it's October 5th. Right now, in the greater Wausau area, there are 436 homes on the market. 245 of those homes are under contract, or 56% of them, which leaves 191 homes available. Let's break down the market by the price point. Between 0 and 100,000, there's 44 homes on the market. 50% of those are under contract. Between 100 and 200, there's 180 homes on the market. 69% of those are under contract. That 100 to 200 has just been, this whole year has just been a robust and very active market. Consistently, between only 25% to 30% of those homes between 100 to 200 have been available at any point. Between 200 and 300,000, there's 116 homes on the market. 60% of those are under contract. 3 to 400,000, there's 48 homes. 52% of those are under contract. 4 to 500, 24 homes, 42% of those are under contract. Just to butt in quick, 4 to 500,000, 24 homes. That's a small, earlier this year we were seeing consistently between, 40 and 50 homes in that 4 to 500,000 range. So that's not a bad price point. It's pretty, limited supply in that price point. Just a quick observation at the moment. 5 to 600, 10 homes, 3 of those, or 30%, are under contract, and then 600 plus, 14 homes, 1 of those is under contract, or 7%. So that's the market by price point. In the last 30 days, we've seen 150 new homes come on the market. 62 of those that have came on the market in the last 30 days are already under contract. And in the last 30 days, 152 homes have sold or now are closed. In the last 14 days, there's been 75 new homes on the market. 17 of those are already under contract. And in the last 2 weeks, 80 homes have sold. I always like to look at this data, this little statistic, because it tells you how fast things are moving. So earlier this year, we saw that properties would be flying off the market, and so a high percentage of the homes that would come on the market would quickly go under contract. Right now, what we're seeing is things are taking just a little bit more time to go under contract. Things are still robust, and the market is still hot. It's just taking a little bit longer for properties to go under contract now than, say, 2 to 3 months ago. Which is nice in some facets, because the market's not moving as quick. It gives everybody a little bit more time to get into homes and see them and make have a little bit more time to make decisions. All right, let's talk about the market by numbers of showings. This is just a small segment of the market, the amount of showings in the area over the course of the last 9 months. In January, there was 589 showings that happened. February, 831. March, showings dropped to 765. April dropped to 747. And then in May, things really picked up. 1,325 showings. June, 1,212. July, 1,297. August, 1,331. And then September, 948. So you can see how things started to pick up in the spring like they typically did. COVID happened, really slowed down. What usually would be a very busy March and April turned out to be a slower March and April. Then May came around, market went gangbusters for between May and even between May and August, the market was just really, really hot, the hottest that we've ever seen. And now in September and early parts of October, we see the seasonal slowdown very slightly. Things are starting to taper down just a touch. So what do we know? So just some observations and some summary points here. The market's still hot. Things are moving. It's still a seller's market. As the lack of inventory, as we can see, the inventory has been low. And just as a reference point, for the majority of the summer, there's been more like 500, in that 500 range of homes. Now there's 436. So the inventory is still low. And so it's still been a seller's market. The demand for homes are still high. Interest rates still low. Buyers are still getting good deals on interest rates and are actively looking to secure homes. In the last few years, what we've seen is that the market peaks in the spring, starts to taper down in the summer, and then a more significantly, a slight taper, I should say, in the summer, and then a more significant taper down towards the end of summer and into fall, and then a slowdown in the winter months. This year, what we've seen is a slower spring, due to everything that's going on, and then a very robust summer, and a very late, right now, just in these last few weeks, a slight taper in the market. So basically everything just kind of pushed back a little bit. So right now, it's not the same market out there right now, though, that it is, say, 1 to 2 months ago. For example, a home that was listed at $200,000 a few months ago, if priced appropriately, it might have seen, I'm just going to throw an example, it might have had 3 to 4 offers on it. I would argue that today, if that same house is on the market, what would have had 3 to 4 offers on it 2 months ago, right now it might only see 1 to 2. So things are still moving, but we have seen a slowdown. And just, in the last 2 weeks, I've probably listed 10 homes for sale. And, based on that and just knowing the activity levels and what's happening with those homes, I can, safely observe that if I would have listed those same homes a few months earlier, they would have had more showings and more offers. Now, in general, these homes are still selling, and instead of getting multiple offers, maybe you get 1 or 2 good offers, which is still, favorable for a seller. So the amount of activity is starting to taper slightly. Why? I would say, seasonal change. Statistically, each year there's a little bit of a slowdown around the election time. Makes sense, a little bit of uncertainty. So as a buyer, right now, if you've been kind of holding off as a buyer because the market's been so hot, it would be a great time to get into the market because we've seen a slowdown. And if you're quick to the draw, if a new house comes on the market and you get in there quickly and you can make an aggressive offer, you can lock something down for a reasonable price. So as a buyer, if you've been sitting on the sidelines for a while, it may not be a bad time to hop in. As a seller, time is of the essence, as we've seen the beginnings of a taper and what looks like, probably a little bit more of a slowdown here in the coming weeks and months, but still a great time to sell. So that's your market update video. Thank you for joining this week's episode of The Real. Glad to be back in the studio and back on the show.